Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Stone and I'm Chief Executive of Cambridge Sleep Sciences, the company behind the SleepHub. It's very important that you set up the SleepHub correctly. And the easiest way to do this is to have, if you're able, a speaker on each side of the bed. Now, they need to be positioned with the speakers facing in towards you. And if you don't have bedside tables, it can go on a chair or it can go on the floor, but with enough distance that you can still hear the device. And the control unit can go anywhere. I actually don't keep it on my bedside table. I keep that on the floor and I can work it from there. So you'll have two speaker cables. One is the short cable. This needs to go in whichever is the nearest end to your controller unit. And you will see on the back here that you have two plugs and you just need to put one in there and one in the plug there, corresponding on the same color. And then just repeat the process with the much larger cord that goes into here again. And as I'm doing this all on the desk, I'm not going to undo it. And we put that one in there. Then it's a straightforward plug in and play. So we plug our device in very much like any computer and get our power in the back here. We'll get those out of the way and that will come on in a minute. So really important you have these speakers facing in so you can hear them, and really where this controller unit goes doesn't matter at all. And what will happen is the first time that this comes on, your device will come on and now it will ask you very simply to slide to sleep. The device is really intended to be on Wi-Fi. So it's a standard Wi-Fi setup as you would with any device. If you don't have Wi-Fi, that's fine. But what you'll need to do is to go into the settings and set the time manually. So we come onto the main screen here. As with most devices, the setting button is a standard icon. And if you want to go in and set up the wireless, you click on the wireless button here. And you can, one of the things that this device will do is it will allow you to play your music through the speakers. So you can set up your Bluetooth, but for this one, we're talking about the wireless. And you just need to press the button. It will be a standard screen, as I'm sure you've done on many of your devices. You just need to input once your Wi-Fi setup code, and then it will work. Now, for new devices, and I'd actually set this one up before, so it's already updated, you may well find that it asks you to update. All you need to do is agree, and that will then update on the system, and you'll have the latest version. So now I want to take you through the main screen. So you'll see that we have icons for an alarm, type of sleep, and then your soundscape, which is basically the masking sound. So we have 4 types of sleep, and I'm going to just press on this button here that you'll be able to see here. We have deep sleep. So if you just want to have the best 8 hours sleep you possibly can, this is the one that you want to select. However, if you don't have 8 hours or you want more time, you can go to easy sleep, and that will then take however much time you have asked for, and it will make sure that the program is running at the optimum for you. So if we go on to the easy sleep, it comes back, and then when you set the alarm, we'll know how much we need. So if we go back in, we have fall asleep, and that's really a 2-hour program that just takes you into a very deep sleep, and then you won't be hearing anything else until the alarm comes on. And then we have power naps. So if you want 45, 60 minutes of sleep, you can come in here, you press this button, you press start, and there's no need to set the alarm because it's just automatically going to do that. And it's going to give you the best nap that you possibly can. Now, some people say, well, great, I like all these programs, but I don't want to be woken up by an alarm. We'll come on to that, but you can just set the volume for your alarm so it doesn't come on at all. I think one of the things that is most important about setting up your SleepHub is getting your sounds right, because it actually comes out of the factory on a very quiet setting, and probably that isn't relevant for all people. So if we go back into the settings here, and then we go onto our volume control, you can see that we have a number of different volumes on there. So our soundscape is the sounds that we're playing, if you like, to almost mask the sleep sounds. And it's very important that whatever sound you get the sleep sound at, you make that soundscape slightly lower. We would recommend 3 or 4 points below. And really, your sleep sound, it just needs to be on the cusp of your hearing. So if you are kept awake because it's so loud, it's too loud. But if you can just hear it, then that will be right. And there is no right or wrong on this. It's got to be what works for you. So we talk a lot about taking time for this to work. Part of that is because you need to get this right. So don't be put off on if on day one it doesn't work for you. Actually, when we did it, it took us about 7 days to get just the right sound that we needed. So these are all adjustable. And as I said before, if you need to, and you don't want the alarm, just take it down to 0, and you won't be woken up by the alarm at all. We also have a brightness setting, and that will allow you, if you need in the night to tap it to change anything, that will define how bright it is from there. So on the far side of the screen, we have our balance control. So if you're sharing a bed with somebody, as we've talked about, it just needs to be on that cusp of your hearing, quiet. So it may be that you need it slightly louder and the other person needs it slightly quieter. The balance will allow you to get that right. And it is a bit of trial and error, but just getting that is so worthwhile. And it doesn't matter if one speaker is louder than the other. It will still work for both of you as long as you have that stereo field. So do take the time to try and work out the balance as well. So on the main screen here, you'll also see that there's a master volume. And I know we've talked about going in and setting those individually. This volume will actually change both the sleep sound and the soundscape. So if you've got it set right, you don't really need to touch this. But if over your night's sleep, you want to try different settings, but you don't want to go in and change both of them, then you can use this master switch here. And the thing we need to reiterate is it just needs to be quiet. It does not need to be blaring out. If it's in the background and you can just hear it, then you've probably got it right, and it's going to have the maximum impact for you. So now I just want to take you very quickly through the other elements of the main screen. We've talked about the sleep that you want to have, and we're on easy sleep at the moment. And then you can actually look at what type of masking sound you'd like. So I don't know if that sound's coming through, but at the moment it's set on ocean, but you have a number of different options of what you might want to use. Now, we're not saying that you have to use the soundscape. Some people just prefer to have the sleep sound and they're okay on that, but it does mean that you won't be distracted or spending all night listening to the sleep sound if you have one of these sounds. So we'll go back to stream here and I'll click OK, and we've set our sound. And then from there, it's very simple on what you need to do. If you want to get to sleep, you just press the play button. If for any reason in the night that you wake up and something's happened, you've had a phone call or anything like that, you are able to just tap the screen and you can stop. And so it's very simple, start and stop. Once you've set up these, you're good to go. So remember, speakers in the right place, get that volume. So you've got the soundscape, so that's your masking sound we just talked about. 3 to 5 points lower than the sleep sound, and then take time to get that right. What tends to happen is people spend the first night listening for that sound, and that's only natural. But once you get past that, it's very much like going to the gym. We're talking about restoring your natural sleep. And to do that, there is some work. And the great thing is the work's happening while you're asleep. But it may take a week, 2 weeks to get to the right volume. And then from there, for your brain to actually start following that natural sleep pattern. So we're often asked, how long does it take? Well, for some people, annoyingly, it's a day. And other people, it takes 6 weeks. We can't really define because it's different for your hearing. And also, if there is two of you, it's getting that balance on how that volume works for two. So this is something you've got to work at. Please do treat it like a gym membership. You need to keep getting in every night and doing that. One of the first things people notice is that they start to dream vividly. A number of people have said, oh, I've had really vivid dreams. And that's probably because you're spending more time in REM sleep, but that is a really good sign. And then what you'll tend to see is that if you wake up a lot. So for me, I fall asleep very easily, but I wake up a lot. And when I started using the SleepHub, I still woke up to start with, but the time I was awake reduced and reduced. So now I don't wake up as much. And when I do wake up, I fall asleep. I'm almost in a drowsy state and I come back. For other people, they'll start to, certainly feel refreshed, certainly feel that actually they need to sleep less. So one of the other bits of feedback we get is that people are not spending as much time in bed or asleep because they don't need to. What they get the full 8 hours they need, and then they're moving and they're going on. But one of the good things you can do is keep a sleep log, because sleep is so subjective. You might feel that you've not had a really good night's sleep when in fact you really have. And you can do that by, maybe just making a note of when you go to bed and actually what time you really are waking up. If you've got a monitoring device, you can use a monitoring device to see what your sleep score is. But I think it's really important because it just starts to show the benefits, especially when you think, oh, is it worth me using this? That you can actually see something tangible. And the other thing we're asked is, well, can I just turn it off? Well, again, it's very much like that analogy of going to the gym. You can turn it off, you can stop using it, and probably on day 2, it's not going to have much difference. But over a week to 2 weeks, your brain will go back to where it was, not where it needs to be for natural sleep. So this is, if you go away for a couple of days or you're on holiday and you can't take something this size, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you do need to keep using it regularly. There are some very basic sleep hygiene steps. So as simple as, don't be on a screen, don't be on the television just before you go to bed, because that's going to stimulate the brain. Going to sleep at the same time each night, being very disciplined. So if your bedtime varies between 10:30 and midnight, picking a time and sticking to that, even for the weekend, but you don't necessarily have to get up when you wake up at the weekend, but it sets the discipline for your body to know when it's going to sleep. And also think about the room that you're in. Is it dark? They say the sort of the optimum temperature is around 18 degrees. Is it quiet? And all those steps will also help with your sleep. So using the SleepHub and doing those sleep hygiene, you should really find that you're getting benefits quickly and that are sustained. So the other important thing here is this isn't just a one-hit wonder. You don't use it and great, it may work one day and not the next. It will build you up to the point you consistently have good sleep.